Good morning, world. Today we're going to be dissecting a function from the underscore.js library, and it's going to be the size function, which takes in an object or an array and returns the length of that object or array. Now we're going to rewrite that function in plain JavaScript, so let's get started. I'm going to be using codepen.io for this, but of course you can use any text editor you would like. To get started at CodePen, go ahead and click on a new pen. And we're only going to be using the JavaScript portion, so we can just slide that over, and we only want the console, we don't need the browser for this. So just bring the console up, and there we go. Now before we start, let's write down some quick goals as to exactly what we need to code, so pseudocode if you will. So we're going to need a function. I'm going to call mine lcheck for length check, and this is just pseudocode, we're not actually coding yet, we're just kind of figuring out what we need. So we're going to need that function, and if it's an array, we just want to return, so if array, we want to return the array length, right? So length, we want to return the array length. If it's an object, we want to return the object length. And if it's anything else, we want to throw an error, or in this case, I'm going to log, console.log an error. So it's not the same, it's not going to throw an error, but we're gonna say, hey, in the console, you didn't put in an object or an array, you need to redo what you put into the function. So it would be, I guess this, we would call this one if object, else if object, and then else, and we want to console.log some type of error. Alright, so that's the pseudocode. Now let's go over and actually code it. I already created an object and array to start, so go ahead and take a second and copy these into your text editor. Now we need to go ahead and create the length checking function. So here we go, const lcheck equals, and it's going to take in an array or an object, so I'm going to call it an item, and we're going to eventually return some type of length, right? And remember, if this is ES6 arrow function, if you don't want to use the arrow function, you can always go function lcheck and pass in the item. Okay, so either way works. I'm going to use the arrow function. So let's go ahead and return something from our function. Return, and for now we're going to do type of item, just to see what the type of the thing is we're passing in. And to pass something in, we're going to console.log the length check function, and we're going to pass in the song array from up here. Okay, and notice song array is an array, but the type of the item, the type of the song array is an object. This is one of those gotcha moments. So we want to know, we can't check for if it's an array with type of, because it's going to become an object, or it's going to say it's an object. So to check for if it's an array, we have to use this. Let's return array.isArray item, and this should come up true. It came up false and then true. It just took a second to register. Alright, so now we know how to check for an array, array.isArray. Now we need to say if array.isArray item, so if the item is an array, return item.length. Okay, so there we got 8, and if we count them up, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, perfect. Okay, and that'll work for any array you put in there. Now we need to check for an object. So now we need an else if, and now we can use type of. So else if type of item triple equals object, and make sure to put that in a string. Else if type of item triple equals object, then we want to return, and for now let's just say object length, and then we'll figure out what that is in just a second. So again, the type of song array is an object, but let's go ahead and put the actual object in there, person. And we're getting object length, which is perfect, which is what we returned. Now we need to actually return the object's length. Okay, I'm going to clear the console to make some room, and then we're going to figure out the length of items in the object. To do that, I'm going to use the keys of the object. So I'm going to say object, let's do let object length equal, and I'm going to break this into 2 or 3 steps. You could do it in one step, but for clarity, I'm going to break it into 2 or 3. Let object length equal object dot keys of item. So let's call that object keys equal object dot keys of item. And if we console.log that just to see what we get, or I guess a more appropriate thing would be return. Okay, we get this array with Katniss, favorite color, and is Mockingjay. Again, those are the keys for the object, which is perfect. And now that you've got an array, you could do, or you can do object keys dot length because it is an array. So we can just return object keys dot length, or just to make it really clear, I'm going to say let keys length equal object keys dot length, and then we'll return keys length, and we get 3, which is perfect. 1, 2, 3. It's exactly what we wanted. Alright, and then the last part of this function is going to be returning an error. If it's not an array and it's not an object, then we want to do else, and we're going to keep this simple and just console.log an error for now, since we're just using it in the console. If you want to throw an error, by all means go ahead and throw an error. We're just going to log it in the console though. So else console.log, and I'm going to put it in all caps, error, please enter, or please use an array or object as the argument value. And we need those in quotes, of course. And let's put in catching fire. And it comes up with error, please use an object or argument value. Okay, let's put in the song array from earlier. And that's not going to work because it's in quotes, so let's get rid of the quotes. And we get our 8. And then if we put in person, we're going to get our length of 3, because the person has 3 keys. It has a length of, the person object has a length of 3. Alright, and that's it for today's. We have this function here called lcheck, which checks the length of any array or object you pass into it. Now you can take this function and save it into your own JavaScript file and use it, so you don't have to ever write this code again, as a helper function. So you would just Control-C copy, paste it in a JavaScript file, save it, and then you can reuse this whenever you like. You don't have to rewrite the code, which is perfect. That's what it's all about. Thanks for watching. We'll see you in tomorrow's video. Hope this was a good warm-up for you. Take care.